Hi guys, welcome back to the channel, and today I'm going to present you the DJV or DJV RDTA version 2. This product is a collab between a reviewer, Adrian Lowe or something like that. I mean, I don't know him, never watched his videos. Yeah, no, I don't know the guy. Throughout the years I've seen some products with his name on it, but that's all that I know about him. I didn't know this product was coming. It was sent on with VPON, with some of their other products, so I guess that VPON makes his products. Tin box that it comes in, no user manual or anything like that, just this as a spare packaging. You get a sticker, you get a keychain, and then you get a spares bag with some spare O-rings and post screws. You'll get a spare glass, a pretty cool flathead screwdriver, and then you will also get this tool to adjust your airflow. More about this in a minute. And then here you have it. So this is the DJV RDTA version 2. Styling wise, I have to say it's a pretty cool looking tank, a little bit over branded in my opinion, but the styling wise of the tank looks cool. So you get DJV logo on both sides, and on the side you get caution hot surface, then version 2 RDTA, and then here on the bottom you got 26mm adjustable airflow valve RDTA. 26mm, let's check that. Yep, 26mm diameter. And then the height, I'm gonna have to include a drip tip on this one because it's a fixed drip tip. You cannot use another one on there. So 44.35mm. If there's someone out there that doesn't know what an RDTA means, that means that your build tech and your airflow sits on the top, and then your tank section sits below the build tech. That's pretty much an RDTA. On the top you will have this mouthpiece. I'm not gonna call it an A10 drip tip. It means it has the bore of an A10 drip tip, but this is one piece, this top. You can take it out. I'll show it to you in a minute when I take the top cap off. Then you get these airflow adjustments. I'll show you this when I take the top cap off. The bottom and the tank, you can take that off. This is reverse threaded. So just unscrew it like so, and then you can take the glass and the base off. Take the top cap off. It's held on with 2 O-rings. Now I can take the mouthpiece or drip tip out. See, that's why I say you cannot put another drip tip on there, because this is pretty much one piece. And then this is your build tech. I have to say the airflow and the build tech on this, that brings me back to like almost 10 years ago, when most atomizers looked like this, build tech wise. I've seen this build tech style a couple of times before. Dual coil setup, your coil will sit over the airflow over here. This in the middle is where you fill up your tank. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but when I press down on this and you put a bottle nozzle in, it will open a valve here on the top, like so. And now you can start filling your tank up. The rest of your post configuration, you got 2 holes on the bottom and then 4 holes on the top. So pretty easy to install coils on this one. Your airflow comes in on these pipes or these valves, how they call it. They will give you this little tool with the teeth that matches up with the cutouts inside of these tubes. And then when I turn this, this will open or close off the valve on the airflow. Not the easiest to dial in, so you're gonna have to play around a little bit with this system if you want to really dial in your airflow, but that's how it works. For the build of coils, Dutch handmade coils, coils by Dennis, and I'm gonna install 2 of these coils, Tricore Classics 2.5mm ID coils. And here you see the specs of the coil. The coils are just wrapped normally. And what I'm going to do to install these coils is I'm going to put 1 leg on the bottom and 1 leg on the top. So loosen up those post screws, flathead screws by the way. That's why they'll give you this included screwdriver. And then just slide in, as I said, 1 leg on the bottom and 1 leg on the top. Position it pretty much over the airflow and tighten down those screws. Snip off the remaining leads at the back. And of course the lead fell inside of the tank. Yes, yes it did. So I'm gonna have to disassemble the tank again. Second coil, same thing. And now reposition the coil. I'm gonna bring the coil closer to the airflow. So I'm gonna have to lower the coil a bit. So what I pretty much do is I take my coil jig and go as low as the coil jig will allow me to, like so. So those are the coils installed. Let me prepare them, remove hotspots and so on, and I'll see you back in a minute. So I got the coils prepared, I pulled some cotton through. As you can see, I thinned out my cotton quite a lot. Now wicking this in RDTA, in my opinion, is not hard to wick. For some people it is because they get dry hits off of it. That's because they pack it too tight. The key thing on an RDTA for me is wick it light. On this one, as you can see, your deck sits pretty much over here, so you're gonna have to have pretty long cotton. I'm gonna cut it off there, snip some of the side. So then take your cotton and you simply just tuck it inside of the hole. See, and as you can see, my tweezers go inside of that hole pretty easily. That means that my cotton is not overpacked inside of the hole. I'm gonna check from underneath in a minute how it looks, or I'll make some adjustments if needed. Now I'm gonna have to check from underneath because there's still that lead that I cut off that fell in the side of the tank. So get that lead out of there. And then from underneath, you can see that this cotton is pretty much all that I have sticking underneath the deck. I'm gonna thin this out a bit. Pull the cotton back from the top. Yeah, that's what it's gonna look like from underneath. I'm gonna use it on this single battery Odin because it matches up pretty nice with this mod. Saturate all this. Now to fill up the tank, as I said, you put your bottle nozzle here from the top. You push down and then it starts filling up the tank. Can't hold it sideways. So that's the tank pretty much filled up. They say it holds 5.2 ml of e-liquid capacity. I'm not gonna measure it out with a syringe because the system is hard to do that with a syringe. And for another fact is this, I checked out my analytics and 85% of my viewers are not even subscribed to my channel. I mean, come on now. Am I so bad at making videos that you won't even consider to subscribe? 85%, that's a lot, man. So why would I spend so much time taking out a syringe, testing out everything if 85% of you are not even subscribed? I mean, it's the same thing in the real world, you know. A couple of people mess it up for the rest of us. This build ohmed out at 0.12 ohms. I'm gonna start this off at 60 watts. That's a lot of airflow. I'm gonna let you hear it close to the mic. Yeah, that's really a lot of airflow, really old school as well. Now, if I want to dial in the airflow a little bit more, I'm gonna have to use this tool and then start making adjustments on this. So now I'm closing it off a little bit more, But don't forget, you have to do this on both sides. So the other one needs to be pretty much at the same level if you want to get the same amount of airflow. It's not the easiest RDTA or tank to dial in your airflow, so now I close it off a little bit more. I hope it's the same on both sides. Yeah, that's a little bit better. Let me show you how this vapes and then I'll come back with my opinion on it. So here we are again. You saw me vape on this. I kept it at 60 watts. That's enough for me on this build with these 2.5mm coils. As I said in the beginning of the video, this reminds me like a very old school tank, and it is basically the build tech, very old school. How the airflow works as well. I've never seen a system like this where you have to adjust it from the outside. Never seen that, but how the airflow comes in and really hits you with all the airflow at once. That's also old school. Then how you wick it, yeah, just put your cotton inside of these holes, and by tilting this to your mouth or by moving this along, your e-liquid will hit the bottom of the cotton, so that's how it wicks. The flavor that I get from this is good. It's not because I said this is old school that the flavor would be less. No. Years and years ago, we had nice flavorful atomizers as well, and the flavor is good. The airflow, yeah, I prefer new technology airflow with some honeycomb and a little bit of diffused airflow. That's what I prefer these days. But back in the day, you only had airflow like this, so all open, really in your face airflow. And that's also what you get from this. A con, in my opinion, yeah, if you want to dial in the airflow, you need to fiddle around with this tool. Make sure that you adjust both holes the same way, because otherwise you're gonna have a little bit more airflow or less airflow on one side. You don't want that. And then of course on the other side, it's also independent. So you have to dial in that side as well. Also, something else to point out is I'm vaping this at 60 watts on this 0.13 ohm build, 2.5mm coils. As you can see, not a lot of mass on these coils. And this entire tank gets like pretty hot, like really hot even. If you chain vape this for a little bit, the entire tank gets toasty warm. And because you can't change out your drip tip, there's no option for you to put a higher drip tip on this. You're stuck with this. Your lips will rest on this like metal piece, I think it is, this anodized piece. And this also gets really, really warm. You take a couple of hits of it and then you leave it to the side, let it cool down, because otherwise it's really not enjoyable. This tank gets like really warm. I can't like all the products that come out, and this one is one of those. Yeah, I'm not sold on it. Just the way that it is. There's so many things that I'm not a big fan of on this tank. So yeah, it is what it is. It's cool to finally see an RDTA make its comeback. I wish that they upgraded it a little bit more to make it to modern times. But okay, yeah. If you want a good remembrance of how vaping was like almost 10 years ago, this Etty is a good example of that. I think I pretty much told you everything about it. This was the DJV or DJV RDTA version 2. I'm gonna cut it off there. That was it for me, guys. And I will see you later. Take care. Bye-bye.